I'm John Erickson in the Appleton area. We're standing above I-41 with details on a closure of the freeway coming up.
4 candidates compete to replace Mike Gallagher in Wisconsin's 8th congressional district. Nina Sperano sits down with each of them to talk about their platform. And a group of NBC 26 team members lended a hand in Habitat for Humanity's Women Build project. We spoke with someone from the organization about how this builds community.
Morning, everyone. I'm forecaster Avi Kargloth, and what a beautiful morning we've got here. Looking at our Appleton Tower Cam over College Ave. The sun is here, and we'll be here to stay for just about the rest of the day, and that's, not too bad whatsoever, I think. We have our temperatures right now. Appleton right now sitting at around 64 degrees, mid-60s for many of our neighborhoods, still in the 50s, in the mid-50s to upper 50s in some of the northern neighborhoods, and a little bit closer to 70 than 60 as we go further south. But our temperatures will be slowly but surely getting up to just about right exactly where our normal highs are today, in the low 80s for the most part, with some sun peeking out. I'll tell you more about your forecast coming up.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm McLeod Hageman. Coming up, your neighborhood reporters will be taking a look at what issues community members are most interested in as we approach the 2024 election season and why voting is important to them. Plus, Perry Apostolakos gives an update on how Manawa is recovering after last week's devastating flood damage and how real estate within the community may be affected after losing waterfront property. But first, John Erickson has everything you need to know about an upcoming project on Interstate 41 and how that may affect your daily commute.
I'm John Erickson in the Appleton area, and we're above I-41, and this stretch will be closed Wednesday night as part of the I-41 expansion project from Richmond to Wisconsin. This is an overnight closure from 11 at night till 4:30 in the morning, and part of the freeway here will also be closed Thursday night during the same times.
Busy I-41 near Fox City Stadium, but the string of traffic will end for a time Wednesday night. Both north and southbound I-41 will be closed from 11 at night to 4:30 in the morning between Richmond Street and Wisconsin Avenue. Only the southbound lanes will be closed again Thursday night during the same times. Kevin Eaton drives for Lyft and Uber in the area. Since he doesn't pick up rides at night, he says the ramp closures in the area are what affect him the most.
Yeah, when you're trying to get to somebody and it hasn't shown up on the GPS that it's closed yet, and you have to take some other routes, so it can cause a couple minutes extra time.
While the freeway's closed, the detour for northbound drivers will be to exit at Wisconsin, then turn onto Richmond to then get back on the freeway, or the reverse route for southbound drivers.
There are some ramp closures set to begin even earlier than the freeway closing. You can find that information on our website, NBC26.com. In the Appleton area, John Erickson, NBC 26.
The Republican and Democratic national conventions are quickly approaching ahead of this year's elections. Our neighborhood reporters are taking a look at what members of their communities are looking at this election season and why their vote matters.
I'm Andrew Amuzu in Green Bay, speaking with voters about why they believe it is important to vote, as well as the top issues they want addressed.
I think it's just part of your civic duty to get your voice heard and affect change in however you see fit.
Because the people's voices matter, and it maybe seems so small, but all of us combined, we can kind of determine how our future goes.
I'm Margaret Cahill in Fond du Lac, and here's what voters are telling me are their top issues in this year's presidential and congressional elections.
Issues except for take care of Social Security, take care of our veterans, and get our homeless off the street.
Especially education, the future of education, and some of the changes of what might be happening with that I just want to make sure that, we have choices.
I'm Preston Stober, and I caught up with a voter along the lake shore. This is what she had to say.
Well, the prices of everything. I mean, I was doing good a few years ago, and now I'm scraping to get by. Make this a safer place because I had a meth bust right next to my house too a couple years ago. So they need to make the city and county a little safer. We need someone that's going to fight for us, and the government is supposed to be for the people, not to see how many billions they can make.
As the race to replace Mike Gallagher in Wisconsin's 8th congressional district heats up, each candidate is eager to distinguish themselves. 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat are running for this rare open seat in Congress.
Here's a look at who's running and what they're bringing to the table as we approach the RNC and the primary election.
I'm a home builder, I'm a veteran, I'm a dad, and I'm ready to go to Washington to get this country moving in the right direction.
Former State Senator Roger Roth is promising practical solutions and steady leadership to build a better America.
I am the hometown OBGYN mom who is running for the people of Northeast Wisconsin to help solve the problems that the people want solved.
Dr. Kristen Lyerly says she aims to address the issues of economic hardships with a focus on affordable health care.
I'm the Trump-endorsed political outsider. People are concerned with career politicians that just really serve themselves rather than serving the constituents.
Tony Weed says he will bring his business skills to Washington to address key issues such as securing the border and lowering prices.
I'm the proven conservative in the race. I'm the fighter that has been punished by special interests and legislative leadership for standing up for my constituents.
And State Senator Andre Jacques positions himself as the only social and fiscal conservative with a strong focus on public safety. As each candidate aims to separate themselves from the pack, this race is capturing the attention of the entire nation. The outcome could influence our political landscape.
We need men and women out in Washington who have real world experience, who've lived and served in the very areas necessary to move this country forward. As a 25-year home builder, 20 years in the Air Guard, 4 deployments to the Middle East, I'm the guy that can go out to Washington on day one.
I am truly doing this and making public service my sole mission. After having a career in business and having this ability, I truly want to go and represent folks and be an outsider. I think that's what the Founding Fathers intended.
I'm also the only candidate endorsed by the Wisconsin Professional Police Association, by law enforcement throughout the 8th District. That's obviously of great concern in terms of the southern border and issues that we're having with public safety and homeland security right now.
People are really struggling right now. They're having a hard time just getting by in the world. I care. I'm the person who will address the issues that they're concerned about. I'm the person who will actually hear them and fight for them in Washington, D.C. They haven't had that in a long time, but I'm here for them.
As we gear up for the RNC and the upcoming primary election, it's crucial to understand what sets each candidate apart. Their visions and promises could shape not just the future of Northeast Wisconsin, but our nation as a whole as we head towards the 2024 election.
We'll be covering all things RNC next week as the convention makes its way to Milwaukee. You can watch coverage on TV 32 from 7 to 8 p.m. and right here on NBC 26 from 8 to 10 p.m. That's July 15th through the 18th. 15 cases of pertussis, commonly known as whooping cough, are circulating in Fond du Lac County. That's according to the health department. Pertussis is a very contagious upper respiratory infection caused by bacteria and known for causing long and constant episodes of coughing. Pertussis can affect anyone, but infections can be more dangerous for pregnant women, immunocompromised patients, and babies younger than a year old. To find more resources and information on pertussis, just check out our website. Habitat for Humanity held its annual Women Build event in Green Bay. The goal of the event is for volunteers to come together and build a home for a family in our community. According to the organization, women and children are the most likely to be impacted by poor living conditions. Some members of our team right here at NBC 26 picked up a power tool and helped build a picnic table during yesterday's event.
We're really grateful when groups like this will come out and spend that time together. So they benefit by spending time outside of work together, but then our future homeowners benefit because we have all of that volunteer labor that helps us save on costs for the home.
Habitat for Humanity of Greater Green Bay CEO Jessica Dietrich says they build homes year-round and are looking to recruit more teams of women build volunteers. For more information on signing up, we have a link posted to our website at NBC26.com.
If you take a look outside right now, you'll probably see mostly sunny skies, And that's what we got in store for the rest of today. Cooler by the lakeshore in the 70s, but most of our neighborhoods across northeast Wisconsin will be in the low 80s. Door County could get there, but they still got a while to get there. Right now, our temperatures in Door County, for the most part, in the low 60s and even in the high 50s. As we go through the day, though, we'll warm up and it'll still feel humid, still feeling like summer. But these warm and humid conditions also could give us potential isolated storms. I'll tell you more with your full forecast coming up.
How the flooding in Manawa is impacting the real estate market. Hear from a real estate agent next. The city of Manawa is still cleaning up after heavy rain overran the land surrounding this dam, causing part of it to wash away. I'm Perry Apostolakos. I spoke with a real estate agent about how nearby homes may be affected.
In terms of property values, really it depends if your property was affected by the dam or not.
Patrick Saifkhani is a local real estate agent.
You know, obviously some of the waterfront properties are no longer waterfront, so that's going to have a slight decrease in value, maybe not. Who knows if the dam will fill back up.
Saifkhani told me he just sold this home in Manawa near the mill pond for above asking price. He has some advice for people who own homes on or near water.
Get routine inspections. Make sure your sump pump's working, make sure the foundation is in good standing condition, make sure that the drain tiling is good intact. If there's any, water pileups or saturations in your yard, I would definitely get that looked at.
Now, despite the water level being lower than normal and in some spots non-existent, at the mill pond off of the Little Wolf River, people are still fishing here. And for people like Jeanette Muck, who's lived in Manawa all her life, she's hopeful the mill pond will return to what it once was.
The mill pond is a very significant resource in our community. We have fisheries out here, and it's a lot of family gatherings and stuff. People all come together to fish, and we do quite a bit of ice fishing out here in the winter. So that's good memories of all that throughout the years.
As the community continues to clean up, Saifkhani said what this means for Manawa's real estate market overall remains to be seen.
This drew a lot of attention to the Manawa area, which, if you know, is a smaller community. So it could go one way or another. If your home was affected by the dam, obviously it's going to go down in value. But if it wasn't, like this property wasn't, then who knows, maybe it could end up selling for higher than you think.
Manawa is still waiting to see what relief funding the city can get from the state. In Manawa, Perry Apostolakos, NBC 26.
And now, weather with Avi Kargloth.
And good morning to you all as we take a look at our Green Bay Tower Cam. That sun is right in our faces to begin the day with some clouds as well. And that is par for the course for the rest of today. Although as we get into the later part of the afternoon, we could see some isolated systems moving through that could bring showers and even a potential for some storms depending on how big and how strong they get, as well as some more closer to Door County as we get into the early hours of tomorrow. Not expecting severe weather, so that is some good news. General thunderstorms throughout most of our area over the course of today. And that's good news because the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers have a game today, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. You can catch that game on TV 32 against the West Michigan Whitecaps. And if you're going to the game, though, you're in for a treat. We're going to be in the 70s just about the whole night with mostly sunny skies. Now, before we get to the full forecast, July is where we see quite a few days, at least a handful of days over the last few years, hitting 90 degrees. We have not gotten to that point so far. We're not expecting to do so today. Temperatures expected to just get into the low 80s, but it should still feel pretty warm like summer. Clouds throughout the day and into the night with our temperatures in the low to mid 60s across northeast Wisconsin. And tomorrow we'll just bump our temperatures up just a smidge up into the mid 80s. More chances for some isolated storms, though. And then that 90-degree day, the first one of July, we could see over the course of the weekend, Saturday or Sunday. But there will also be humidity in the air, and that brings chances for storms.
Coming up, an Ashwaubenon track and field star won Gatorade Player of the Year, but she won it for being more than just an exceptional athlete. I'll have her story coming up. Here at Ashwaubenon High School, you can find one of the best track and field throwers in the entire country. But as I've come to find out, she's a lot more than just an athlete.
it's really, really rewarding to know that I'm recognized, not just for my numbers.
Yeah, it's like about to get down and then you just bring it over. So.
For Ashwaubenon track and field thrower, soon-to-be senior Thea Crowell, her coaches knew right away that she'd be special.
Believe it or not, her freshman year, her first week, we were doing some drills into the wall, and Coach Dan and I were talking. We're like, there's some potential here to be really good.
Crowell dominates in shot put and discus. She's won the Division I discus title 2 years in a row, along with the shot put title this past season.
Knowing that as soon as it leaves your fingertips, like you just had thrown a good throw, like it's so special.
It takes a lot more than being strong to be a dominant thrower.
The majority of it is technical and the majority of it is mental, and you do have to be strong to perform well, but the majority of it is just doing the drills and working on your muscle memory.
All of that hard work not only paid off in sweeping the throws events at state this year, but it also earned her Wisconsin Gatorade Player of the Year honors.
I ran and I told my mom, and we were just screaming, and it was just like the greatest moment ever.
But winning the award doesn't mean you're just an excellent athlete. It's also about having good academics and exemplary character. Crowell excels in her studies and volunteers as a lifeguard at the Salvation Army Kroc Center and rings bells on behalf of the charity during the holiday season.
I feel very, very honored to have all these opportunities, and it brings me a lot of joy to help the community around me feel as special as I feel every day.
And according to her coaches, this is just the beginning of the great things she will achieve.
She's just such a great kid that it makes coaching worth it. It's been a fantastic journey, and I think the best is yet to come.
As you just heard, the best is yet to come. Now, Crowell has lofty expectations for her future. She wants to be an NCAA Division I All-American, and she wants to win some national meets. From Ashwaubenon High School, John Miller, NBC 26.
The 2024 Paris Olympics are coming up. Just 15 more days until the July 26th opening ceremony in Paris. You can watch that ceremony, including the games, right here on NBC 26. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the Pittsburgh Pirates last night 9-0 during a home game at American Family Field. At the bottom of the first, Willy Adames doubles on a line drive to center off the Pirates' Martin Perez for an RBI, scoring the first point in the game. In the fourth, William Contreras doubles on a line drive to left off Martin Perez for 2 runs, bringing the score up from 2-0 to 4-0. Bottom of the fifth, Rhys Hoskins homers on a fly ball to left field for a solo shot. Today, the Brewers will take on the Pirates again for a third and final game. First pitch is set for 1:10 p.m. The Wisconsin Timber Rattlers have won their last 2 games against the West Michigan Whitecaps and play them again tonight at home. If you want to watch that game but can't make it to the ballpark, you can watch the game over on TV 32.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day for baseball. If you're outside at all today, temperatures in the low 80s, a little bit cooler by the lakeshore in the upper 70s, but mostly sunny skies have us feeling like a nice summer day. In terms of wind gusts, we are expecting to get some stronger winds from the south in the later part of the day after some weaker wind gusts in the north at the beginning and the early part of the afternoon. Temperatures expected to fall into the low to mid 60s tonight with some partly cloudy skies.
A recent housing study found the market for affordable homes has tightened. What it means for one Northeast Wisconsin neighborhood, that's coming up. A recent Sheboygan housing study found the market for affordable homes has tightened across the board. Our Sheboygan neighborhood reporter Mackenzie Hamill talked to a few people who are struggling to find a place within their budget.
It's quite difficult to find something under $1,000.
Paulette Carter is about halfway through her 90-day stay at Salvation Army Sheboygan. She survives off of her late husband's Social Security benefits.
The love of my life, my best friend.
Paulette's criminal past makes it even harder to get a job for more income.
That's not who I am today.
She applies for jobs and apartments all day. And so far, no luck.
$1,500, $1,600 for 1 bedroom. Beautiful place, beautiful environment. But I don't have the income.
According to the housing study, rental and ownership vacancies for Sheboygan have been at or lower than 1%. That's considered an unhealthy market. This is the Founders Point subdivision, and it's one way that the county is trying to bridge the gap with housing in Sheboygan. There will be 4 new homes available each month, priced affordably, and the goal is to bring more workers to the area. The neighborhood will include more than 50 homes and are geared toward first-time home buyers, like the Witts.
It's a seller's market right now, home-wise.
They were forced out of their rental home after almost 14 years, and without a place lined up, they had to stay at a hotel in town.
With only $120,000 of buying power, they're very, very limited.
While Adam works, Angela spends her day looking for places to live.
Even this one at 125 recently just sold.
In 2021, the median selling price was about $198,000. In 2023, it was about $275,000. The housing study states that Sheboygan needs to add over 2,000 rentals and more than 3,000 ownership properties to the market.
Some places they
Adams cashed in his whole retirement to keep them afloat for the last month. But funds are running out, especially with the U-Haul storing their belongings.
$40 a day for a month, you're looking at $1,500.
The Witts can only last a few more weeks at the hotel.
It's time sensitive, but we're surviving.
Reporting in Sheboygan, Mackenzie Hamill, NBC 26.
Our temperatures will be increasing from the 60s, where we are right now in most of our neighborhoods, all the way up through the 70s into the 80s. We're looking at mostly sunny skies, and that's pretty nice, but what are the chances for sprinkles and showers? I'll tell you more coming up.
Green Bay Area Public School wants your input on a $183 million referendum. Where and how you can do that coming up.
Nita Sperano speaks with a political science professor at UW-Oshkosh, finding out what Wisconsin voters need to know as we get closer to Election Day.
A new Amtrak bus stop in Fond du Lac hopes to connect the city to Milwaukee, the Fox Cities, and Green Bay. I'm your Fond du Lac neighborhood reporter, Margaret Cahill, with what neighbors think about it.
Good morning, I'm forecaster Avi Kargloth, and bam, we got the sun right in your face to begin the morning as our temperatures right now across northeast Wisconsin are still warming up to what they will be. Green Bay right now at around 63 degrees, still a little bit cooler in our northern neighborhoods in the 50s, but a little bit closer to 70 as we go further to the south. And we're looking at pretty nice temperatures for the majority of the day, and the majority of our skies will be filled with that sun. There will be some clouds, maybe a little bit less as we go a little bit further in the day, but this is right around our normal highs in the low 80s, and that makes sense, right? We're getting closer to the middle of July, but there could be some storms and showers. I'll tell you more coming up.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us this Thursday. I'm McLeod Hageman. This morning, your neighborhood reporters are taking a look at what issues community members are passionate about as we approach the 2024 election season and why voting is important to them, plus an update on crosswalk safety concerns in Greenville. Carl Winter connects with people to learn which issues are being addressed and what needs to change. But first, your Fond du Lac neighborhood reporter, Margaret Cahill, looks at a new bus stop connecting community members with others throughout northeast Wisconsin.
Starting this week, a new Amtrak bus stop will connect Fond du Lac to Milwaukee, the Fox Cities, and Green Bay. I'm your Fond du Lac neighborhood reporter, Margaret Cahill, with more on why this location and what neighbors have to say about it. The route connecting Milwaukee, Fond du Lac, the Fox Cities, and Green Bay isn't new. But the city believes with the new bus stop, they could draw new riders, like Brzezinski, who may not have known the bus even came through town. The Amtrak service is one of, I think, our unknown secrets.
Fond du Lac Community Development Director Diane Benson says the old stop at the Radisson Hotel shut down a few weeks ago. The move to Love's has already created a buzz on social media.
That's why I think having it here, also closer to I-41, and just a lot of the traffic here is going to be a great addition. And I think hopefully more and more people will realize what a great service it is.
Benson says the new location brings different perks, like bathrooms, food, and drinks.
Now, Benson says if the train route comes, it would be at least a decade away, but the bus stops here daily. In Fond du Lac, I'm Margaret Cahill, NBC 26.
The Republican and Democratic national conventions are quickly approaching ahead of this year's elections. Our neighborhood reporters are taking a look at what members of their communities are looking at this election season and why their vote matters.
I'm Carl Winter, checking in with voters here in Titletown about the issues they care about and what will bring them to the polls. Here's what they had to say.
Mainly the cost of living, jobs. Jobs is a big thing that goes up and down. Help with people in need. I feel like the balance between up here and down here is just not there.
I want to see the price of inflation go down. I'd like to see the price of energy go down. And number two is I would really like to see a secure border.
I'm Perry Apostolakos. Here's what I'm hearing from voters in Suamico ahead of this year's major congressional and presidential elections.
I haven't really watched any debates or anything because to me it's a circus. We need a change. I mean, as far as income, Social Security, insurance, everything is just skyrocketed. I know a few people can't even afford apartments anymore, and we just need a better economy.
I vote every year. I feel it's a kind of an obligation we have. I think the most important thing is to get the right person in there, the best person in there that's qualified to do the job. And the job is making the country a better place to be and other countries a better place to be.
I'm your Appleton neighborhood reporter, Noah Cornelius, and this is what I'm hearing from voters around the city.
The economy, middle-class people, health care, affordable child care. The issues go on and on.
You know, we always hear this from people that this is the most important election of our lifetimes, and it seems like hyperbole, but this year it absolutely is.
The RNC aims to fire up the Republican Party in the final months leading up to the presidential election. The speeches, the political stars, the introduction of Trump's running mate, nominations, rallies, it's a media frenzy that's broadcast across the globe. I spoke with an assistant professor of political science at UWO to help us cut through the noise and focus on what really matters while watching the convention next week.
The mostly purple voter here in Northeast Wisconsin, when we are watching the RNC, what should we be looking for?
The first thing the convention is going to do is approve a new party platform this year. The second aspect of the convention is just the actual nominating process prior to the convention. But the third thing the convention does, and probably most important to voters, is just to get to know the candidates and the candidates' policies and what the vision they see for America is. So, what is the next 4 years going to look like under this particular administration?
Now, there's going to be a lot of, noise, if you will, throughout the RNC, surrounding the RNC. Yes. And that can be distracting. How do we cut through that noise to get our questions answered?
I would say listen to, especially the nighttime, the primetime speeches, which is usually when we see sort of like the stars of the party who the president has chosen as his surrogates to speak on his behalf. There's always new information coming out about the candidates and what they're doing, but the convention is a time where we get to hear directly from candidates and the people who the candidates have selected to speak for them, and we can take that time to decide for ourselves. Do I like what I'm hearing, or do I need to go a different way?
There's a lot to look forward to in the coming days of the RNC, but there's a lot happening right now here in Northeast Wisconsin. Joining me now is NBC News national and political correspondent Jacob Soboroff. You're crisscrossing the country here. You're in this battleground state, and you're right here in Northeast Wisconsin. Tell us what you're doing here.
Well, we're here on purpose, very specifically so, because like you guys have been talking about, Nina, the eyes of the world will be on and are on Wisconsin because of the convention, but instead of just talking about what's happening on the stage or what's happening with the delegates, we thought it was important to have an eye from the convention out to the communities across the state that will ultimately determine who wins this critical state and why that is. And so that's exactly what we're doing. We're here with you, and we're here in Northeast Wisconsin because we want to hear from the voters who are ultimately going to decide this thing. And what are the issues that matter to them, not what do they think about the issues that are being talked about on the stage of the convention.
I look forward to what you get.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Thanks so much for being
here.
here.
Okay, appreciate it.
We'll be covering all things RNC next week as the convention makes its way to Milwaukee. You can watch coverage on TV 32 from 7 to 8 p.m. and right here on NBC 26 from 8 to 10 p.m. That's July 15th through the 18th. A new report from Syracuse University shows political ads are a prime source for misleading information and an increasing popular way for con artists to target victims. The group looked at groups on Facebook and Instagram that ran ads mentioning presidential candidates. While most of the groups paying for the ads are legitimate, researchers say others seemed more interested in getting a user's personal financial data than boosting any particular candidate.
Green Bay Area Public School District is looking for community input for a November referendum. I'm your Green Bay neighborhood reporter Andrew Amuzu with what you can expect ahead of Thursday's community meeting. The referendum addresses spending $183 million for security improvements and school consolidation. On Wednesday, I spoke with Lori Blakesley of Green Bay Area Public School District. She says $33 million would address security enhancements, especially at school entrances. $150 million are for school consolidation efforts, which would include structural additions to schools, renovations, and maintenance needs. The district has offered a list of the projects that could be funded through the referendum. At Thursday's meeting, people can answer questions such as which projects they support the most and what are expected challenges in each project.
Do they feel like we're looking at the right things? Do they feel like we've missed something? You know, are they saying, boy, there's some projects out here that we've have some concerns about that don't seem to have made the list, and this would be an opportunity to advocate for that.
The meeting will be held at MacArthur Elementary School at 6 p.m. and a tour of the school will be available at 5:30. And after the meeting, the Board of Education will vote on July 22nd on which projects will be part of the November referendum. In Green Bay, Andrew Amuzu, NBC 26.
We've been following Manitowoc County's budget deficit very closely. I'm your Manitowoc neighborhood reporter Preston Stober with an update as the county moves closer to finding a solution. This week, Manitowoc County's Financial Committee unanimously approved a proposal for a 0.5% sales tax. Committee Vice Chairman Jim Bryce says they're trying to fill a $4.2 million deficit, though the total fluctuates as more bills come in. The committee chose the sales tax over a property tax proposal, an increase of 12.5%. Now, Bryce says the county board will consider the sales tax at next Monday's meeting.
Future county boards will have this money available for whatever they feel to use it for, and hopefully in the long sense will be for property tax relief.
Bryce says that if anyone in the community has any ideas to help, he'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear them too. You can find my contact information as well as Bry and the committees on NBC26.com. In Manitowoc, Preston Stober, NBC 26.
The Green Bay Conservation Corps and the Green Bay Botanical Garden are partnering to plant thousands of native plants at Dan Century Grove today. They encourage the community to join between 9 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. to help plant. The event is open to all ages and abilities, but please bring your own gardening gloves if you have them.
Our temperatures today expected to climb into the low 80s, a little bit cooler by the lakeshore in the mid 70s. But across northeast Wisconsin, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. Taking a look at some of our neighborhoods in Brown County, still have a little bit to go before we get to those high temperatures, mostly in the low to mid 60s right now. But that will change and begin to feel like summer. A warm and humid day is what we got going on, but there also have the ingredients for some stormy conditions. I have your full forecast after the break.
More conversations, but no solutions about this dangerous pedestrian crossing. I'm in Greenville, where the village board heard concerns from neighbors about this crosswalk. An accident at this pedestrian crosswalk here in Greenville concerns parents and neighbors. They've brought those concerns to the state and local government, but the village board meeting Wednesday night brought more questions than answers. There are baseball fields on one side and a popular ice cream shop on the other. After a pedestrian was recently hit in the intersection, parents are worried.
I personally will not allow my son to go to the park with his friends without me. I don't trust him to cross the street safely.
The crosswalk goes across State Highway 15 at Hyacinth Lane. The village board members say the project has been discussed with the state before, but that ideas of a bridge or tunnel across the highway were shot down.
They actually recommended doing nothing, and at the time that was the best option that we had. The answer is not allow any pedestrian traffic down there.
The board says they've contacted the Department of Transportation about getting flashing lights at the crosswalk and are meeting with the DOT soon for guidance.
And I want to make sure that it's very clear that it's a state project.
The residents say they need to act quickly either way.
To see the children trying to cross from the park to the twist, and if you are going to stop for them, which you should in the crosswalk, you nearly get rear-ended every time. They have to have more safety dedicated to the pedestrian traffic in this village.
The village board did not take action on the crosswalk Wednesday night, but scheduled a meeting for later in the month with the Department of Transportation. In Greenville, Carl Winter, NBC 26.
Travel volume is up significantly this summer. While that's good for the economy, airlines are struggling to find enough employees to keep up with demand. One of the biggest challenges is hiring air traffic controllers. The aviation industry is working with the federal government to come up with solutions to attract and retain talent. They're also discussing ways to promote safety, fill pay gaps, and help aviation students pay for training.
And now, weather with Avi Kargloth.
Good morning once again. We're waking up with some sunny skies in Appleton, as you can see on our tower cam. Partly sunny for the rest of the day, though. As we go through the rest of the morning, we are seeing some clouds, and as we get into the afternoon, we do see a few isolated small systems that could bring some showers and even some isolated thunderstorms, especially closer to central Wisconsin. Going through the rest of the night and into tomorrow, we could see more of those closer to Dora County. The good news is we are not expecting any severe weather today. We're just under a risk for general thunderstorms across most of northeast Wisconsin. And that's a good thing because the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers got a game tonight, 6:40 p.m. First pitch against the West Michigan Whitecaps. You can catch that game on TV 32. If you're going to be at the game, you're in luck. We're in the 70s with mostly sunny skies for just about the whole game. Now, we have not hit 90 degrees yet in July, but we could be getting there soon as we look at our forecast in a moment. Isolated thunderstorms possible, like we mentioned. Our highs expected to get into the low 80s, similar to what we had yesterday. Our temperatures expecting to drop into the low to mid 60s tonight with mostly clear skies, but we could expect some clouds throughout the day. Expecting a little bit warmer temperatures tomorrow in the mid 80s with possibilities for storms. And there's that 90-degree day that we could see coming up this weekend. Once again, though, the hot and humid temperatures could give us potential storms.
Our political reporter Joe St. George has a preview to a news conference President Biden is hosting today in Washington, D.C. What to expect, that's still ahead. President Biden will hold a solo press conference later today at the conclusion of the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. The event comes as questions about his candidacy continue to mount. Joe St. George looks at the pressure on President Biden to perform well later today, as well as how rare these particular events are for the president.
Thursday marks another critical day for President Biden, 2 weeks after his debate performance sparked concerns within the Democratic Party about his candidacy.
I'm with Joe.
He's all in. He is a fighter.
While top Democrats are still standing by the president, skepticism looms large about whether he can win in November.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election. And maybe win it by a landslide.
Thursday evening, President Biden will hold a solo press conference at the NATO summit, his first opportunity since the debate to take questions from the White House press corps. His physical health will be a major topic. According to analysis by the American Presidency Project, President Biden has held 14 solo press conferences during his first 3 years in office. Former President Trump held 9 during that same time frame. Trump did, however, give more television interviews than President Biden. Former President Obama held 29 solo press conferences in his first 3 years in office.
It's not Biden's forte.
Alan Lichtman is a presidential historian who has correctly predicted the winner of 9 of the last 10 presidential elections and says there is pressure on President Biden Thursday to perform well.
Biden is old, and he's not quick on his feet. He's never been all that good, responding quickly to questions.
Lichtman is critical, however, of Democrats who are calling on the president to step aside. Debates rarely, in the end, impact an election, Lichtman says, and his model is still predicting a Biden win.
What all these people have in common who are trying to push Biden out of this race is they have zero track record in actually predicting elections.
In recent days, though, political analysts have shifted a number of key states to favor Trump in the fall. The Cook Political Report has shifted Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia from toss-up states to lean Republican states. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
If you're going outside in the next few minutes and you see some sunny skies, you can expect that for much of the rest of the today. Just about all of northeast Wisconsin will see some clouds and sun, with some temperatures a little bit warmer in other areas than others. And then as we see later in the day, we are going to expect to see some gustier winds in the later part of the day coming from the south. After the majority of the day, we'll see our winds coming from the north. Temperatures tonight expected to get into the low to mid 60s, but those clouds will be here to stay.
The Israeli military says they're pursuing Hamas militants and urging all Palestinians to leave Gaza City and head south. Meanwhile, the Biden administration is now allowing 500-pound bombs to be sent to Israel. The shipment was paused nearly 3 months ago because U.S. officials were concerned the large bombs might be sent and used by Israel to attack Gazan civilians. While the 500-pound bombs have been given the go-ahead, a 2,000-pound bomb shipment is still on hold. Now taking a look at the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, a Houston area utility company called CenterPoint Energy is under pressure to quickly restore power to more than 1 million people. Outages are widespread after the hurricane, and many people are struggling to escape those high temperatures. And taking a look at Washington, D.C., the NATO summit continues with big topics on the table today. The NATO-Ukraine Council will convene to try to shore up long-term financial funding for the country. The North Atlantic Council will also meet with its Indo-Pacific partners and the European Union to talk about strategic partnerships.
All right, let's take one more look at your forecast. Isolated storms possible as we get into the later part of the afternoon, but for the most part, mostly sunny skies and our highs in the low 80s. Temperatures tonight expected to fall into the mid to low 60s with mostly clear skies, but also some clouds as well. Isolated storms possible, similar to today, and a little bit warmer in the mid 80s. That's where we can expect our high temperatures to be. Again, mostly sunny skies, and that's the theme going into this weekend as well. More chances for storms with the heat and the humidity, but we're going to be going from warm to hot, going from the low 80s to the mid 80s to the upper 80s to potentially the first 90-degree day of July. Again, though, with possibilities for storms.
Yeah, Avi, thanks. The Today Show is coming up next. What to expect after President Biden addresses NATO. Plus, a special guest is stopping by the Today Show studio. What Bette Midler has been up to and what she has to say. Those stories and more still ahead. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm McLeod Hageman. Have a great Thursday.